Do we need other people's recipes for success, or are we truly trying to cultivate our own unique recipe? Today, I want to talk to the idea that maybe it is a little bit of both. If you've been following along, you would have heard me talk a few times about how important it is to cultivate our own unique recipe and definition for what success looks like. And while I firmly believe that is so important, I also believe that it is not necessary for us to completely reinvent the wheel. Whatever goals we're trying to pursue, there are many others that have trodden the path before us. And there is a wealth of information available to us to influence the decisions that we make. So today I want to talk to when we should be looking externally and when we need to really be focusing on what is most important for us to be doing. Continuous improvement and creating systems and processes that we can trust and rely on is at the core of the entrepreneurial journey for most of us. We're looking for certainty that we can reproduce results, and I believe this is one of the number one factors that influence success in new businesses across the board. If this continuous improvement mindset is something that's new to you, I really recommend you grab a copy of my 5-minute daily planner. It is a tool that starts the process of both planning and reflecting and taking the lessons out of every day. So I'll put together a checklist. If this sounds interesting, let me know and I'll shoot it through, no strings attached. Hello everyone and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. I'm Paul Heron. I'm a life coach and entrepreneur. I made the transition from feeling completely uncertain, not knowing how I was ever going to leave the corporate world, through the roller coaster ride of setting up my own business, and now 5 years later have a successful coaching business and have helped dozens of people successfully achieve their own goals. This podcast is my latest way of ensuring that I keep stepping out of my own comfort zone. Over the last 5 years, I've outsourced marketing largely and have finally decided that this year is the year that I learn marketing skills from the ground up. So over the next 12 months, I'm challenging myself to create, record, upload a podcast episode every single day in the hope of not only documenting my journey, but showing you guys how these coaching strategies apply in real life. Along the way, there'll be highs and lows and everything in between. But for now, let's get started into today's episode. When I think about what it is that I most want to achieve, what comes up for me most frequently is to be able to express myself authentically, to create my authentic recipe for success, to learn all the skills to be able to stand out in the crowd and be able to create engaging messages that really resonate with my ideal client, and to have gained a high level of certainty around how to operate my business and to feel the success that will come with that. And I think there's many of us out there that have a similar goal. Now, the challenge that I've had personally is if I'm wanting to show up authentically, it means looking less at what everybody else is doing. And through my 5-year journey of being self-employed, there have definitely been periods where I have, at the very start, I was looking at what everybody else was doing and trying to emulate and copy the things that I saw. Then there was a clear phase of repelling against that and really focusing on being myself and just focusing on what I am putting out. But I'm more and more finding myself coming back full circle to a place where I can healthily, in a healthy way, be aware of what everyone else is doing and to be able to use what I see to my advantage without feeling overwhelmed. And this is a really interesting thing to think about. Up until a couple of months ago when I took on this challenge to find out about marketing, I had gained a high level of certainty in myself, in my coaching, and my ability to be able to guide my clients through to the goals and objectives that they were looking to achieve. I didn't need to look externally too far. I was, and I am, always committed to continuous growth. So I was diving in and doing courses from time to time. But in terms of my coaching, I had a very strong sense of certainty that I have what I need to be able to provide the results to my clients. That all changed taking on this project, I think. This is something that is brand new to me. And because I don't have any certainty whatsoever, I can't rely on simply trying to figure this stuff out on my own. So I think particularly when we are the complete beginner, we need to find ways to be able to have the external world and the things that others, the recipes that others have created to provide results for them, to have that influence the things that we're going to try, or at least try first. And that brings me back to where I'm at. If you have been following along, you would have noticed me use the word overwhelm quite a few times. I have found myself going down a million different rabbit holes, trying to get my head around every single element in the marketing process, from branding to social media to understanding my customer and my perfect client, creating offers and everything in between. There are so many moving parts to this thing. And if we're not careful, that overwhelm can get the better of us. So what's the solution that we can start to have a look at? If we know that the ultimate goal is for us to find our own unique recipe, and if we know that there are many others out there who have found their own unique recipe, but I think if we can go about obtaining our information in a healthy way, I think we'll give ourselves the best chance of dealing with all this in a way that matches our values and our personality and who we are. So if you find yourself in a situation like I am right now, I think just remembering that we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to start completely from scratch. I think remembering that there is no shortage of information out there. We're lucky enough to live in an age where anything that we could possibly want is available to us, which has its pros and cons. So for me, I think the first step is to just keep coming back to gaining clarity on what our unique vision for success is. What is the target that we're aiming at? And for me, it's understanding how I can take control of attracting clients into my world. Then we need to try and think through how we go about deciding what our next steps are going to be. And we either already have the information available to us and we need to just make commitments to take action, or we need to go out and source the information. We can do some research and spend the appropriate amount of time and energy looking at what other people are doing, looking at their recipe, what's worked for them, or with the mindset of thinking, is that something that might work for me? Ultimately, we want to get to a place where we can make a commitment about the thing that we're going to take action on next. And lastly, and probably most importantly, once we've got to that place where we have decided what we're going to do next, we want to stop taking in new information. And I think this is where I've been getting stuck myself. Once we've made a decision about the thing that we're going to try, it's time to take action. It's time to see how it works and to work out whether this thing has the potential of finding its way into our final recipe. So I think ultimately, yes, we are trying to develop our own unique way of going about things. But I think the real takeaway here is how we look at everyone else's recipe. Why has it worked for them? I think looking for patterns and repeating themes that keep coming up would be a fantastic thing to do. And it literally just comes back down to giving them a go and seeing if they work for us. I just had an image there of us. If we got a recipe to bake a cake, for example, we're pretty comfortable if we get that recipe that we can all obtain the same quality of ingredients. And if we had the process documented, we could probably all produce a very similar quality cake in the end. But I think this stuff is a little bit different. When we're looking externally at the results that others have achieved, I don't think we quite get all the relevant information that we need. Everyone's at their own unique level of development. We've all got very unique personal qualities and values. We're all very different in so many different ways. So I think for us, looking at what's worked for someone else, just having that mindset that, okay, that's great that it's worked for them. Let's just see. Let's give it a go and see if it's something that might work for us. I think that's the best way to approach this stuff, as well as constantly getting creative with ourselves, thinking outside the box, and just trying different things. So I hope that helps in shining a little bit of a light on when we should be looking externally and when we should be trusting ourselves. I hope it's provided some value. If you're interested in getting started in creating this continuous improvement growth mindset for yourself, then my 5-minute planning tool might be exactly what you need to get you started. It really is about cultivating this attitude of responsibility and ownership and compounding the improvements that we make on a day-to-day basis. So if you're interested, just let me know and I'll shoot it straight through, no strings attached. The best way to find me is through my website, paulheronlifecoaching.com. There's a few different ways there that you can reach out. There's a Facebook group, which might be the best way to get in touch. You can reach out via Messenger directly. And if you've been able to master some of this stuff yourself, please reach out because I'd love to have you on the show as a guest. If you are getting value from the show, please consider subscribing. It really does go a long way to helping build the show and show it to a wider audience. I hope you have a fantastic day, and until tomorrow, bye for now.